You could maybe tell us a little bit about Serbia Telekom and the background to this big work you've embarked on with data, and maybe a little bit how you fit into the larger group.
Yes, of course. Telekom Srbija exists for the last 27 years, and from previous postal office and services connected to that, it provided fixed services mainly. After that, at the start of 21st century, it also introduced mobile telephony services, and gradually we expanded towards West Balkans region by founding daughter companies in Montenegro and in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And in the last several years, we embarked on some interesting projects in Northern Macedonia and Turkey, and also in Western Europe, in Switzerland, in Austria, in Germany. So from a particularly small telecommunications operator, within the last 5 years or so, we became a respectable size operator, and we are placed as first on majority of markets where we are doing business. So a lot of things that were going on for the last 15 years that are also connected with data and analytics have brought us up to this point where we are now. So that is, I think, a very brief introduction of who we are.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And so then you started looking at the business advantages of being a data-driven organization, and you might want to say something about that in a minute. And then you looked at the key business problems, well, business and technology, the hurdles, things that were stopping you from doing that. So maybe you want to talk about that, and then from maybe last summer, when you started to put your plan, your master plan in action.
So during these last, let's say, 12 or 15 years, we were doing some form of analytics, trying to analyze data and to, at initial point, to create some reports or some form of simplified analysis, segmentation of customers. But it also provoked that we have a lot of silos in our organization, a lot of organizational units that are producing some level of truth, some sort of form and idea of what the reality looks like. So it has brought us up to this consequence of having multiple versions of same data or same business problem. So that is one aspect that is very important. Other one is technology as a very important dimension. So we had to think about also to consolidate the technology stack, and it was important to see, for instance, how many tools are being used to analyze something, to process data. It's not just Microsoft tools or spreadsheets. It is multiple. It's in some sections, in some parts of the organization, they have multiple tools that perform the same kind of tasks. So it was an important activity to perform a good review what is going on in the organization, to see what is possible to upgrade, to improve, in order to have to be presented and to be positioned as a top-notch operator. So
it would be fair to say that the whole thing was kind of fragmented and siloed, and a lot of duplication with tools, which means there were very different skill sets across the organization. So what was happening one place was different to what was happening somewhere else. So it was hard to replicate. Everybody was doing everything in a different way for themselves. Yeah, this is not efficient.
And total inexistence of some form of unified criteria or unified look over the same business problem. So interpretation also is very much significant in our business. We had to put in use our biggest asset, and that is data. That is our oil of this age. And we have that competitive advantage that we are sitting on data. I mean, we are Saudi Arabia in data world.
Saudi Arabia without the oil rigs.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I think you outlined when we were speaking earlier, 4 very specific things that with this big data project you put in motion, that there were 4 things that you were very keen to achieve. Maybe we could talk about them a little bit.
Yes, of course. So during the last 3 years, we put on a very important data and analytics strategy that will lead us up to 2026. And it gave us most important initiatives that need to take place, which include key projects that we need to execute, implement them in our organization, so that we can count on some benefits when everything is in place. We had that luck, it's one way to say that, of having the opportunity to put all of those most important initiatives in one strategic program during end of summer last year. So we kicked off a major, very, very big program that consists of 8 projects that are all connected with data and analytics in different levels and forms. So in order to help you better understand, let's imagine that we have a pyramid, and in its foundation, in its base, we have projects such as data literacy.
This is for your staff, data literacy.
Yeah, internal education project, which from one side builds their technical competences to be able to work in analytical tools for reporting, for segmentation, for any kind of analysis. And on the other side, when we say something from our world, from our perspective, that we are sure that majority of colleagues understand, so that we are not perceived as aliens or some interesting species.
Well, I think it's always interesting that the biggest single failure for projects is because you don't get your employees don't commit, and they do a lot of this, but they just ignore the instructions, basically.
Yeah. So this project was executed with great help of our HR, and we are now on a journey to complete that within the next 2 months. We consolidated all of our efforts in analytics within SaaS, which was deemed by Gartner as in that top-notch quadrant as the main analytical tool for this kind of organization. And our organization prefers SaaS for self-service. But we also use it for marketing automation, for advanced analytics. So that second pillar in that pyramid that used the consolidation of our technology in order to unify everything into one platform. Also, I must say that we did not have a single source of truth or some form of golden record. So we embarked on centralization of data sources, most important IT and technical data regarding customer data, billing, invoices, traffic usage, different kind of customer behavior data. So we are now on our journey to complete that. So the customer data record will be completed, and we will have that one single source of truth. So we do not have some siloed, fragmented view in customer care, other one in sales, third one in marketing. So we can have all of those guys go into SaaS and look into that data, which is residing in our big data analytical environment. Also, we approached data governance. We do not have much examples in our region, so we are poor by experience in that area, but we are trying to learn as fast as we can.
Siniša, I suspect there's not that many great examples of data governance anywhere, actually.
Yeah.
I suspect.
Yeah. So we are eager to learn there and to fail fast and try and implement some interesting pilots. We started with business dictionary and with unification of most important code books into one place. So we identified over 100 individual code books. So if you can imagine a network operator with 500 services has 100 code books. So our assumption is that a majority of them will be consolidated, aligned, and standardized. So we have much.
And why is there? I mean, why have you tackled this? Because it's on its own, it's quite a big project. People tend to think about getting the data into a data lake is the really tough stuff so that you can use it. But to me, this setting up the governance and the dictionary and so on actually is really very hard work. Why is it so important?
Yes, our business need is so big. We have a lot of analytical projects that are directly in some sense a part or a major part of some business process that we are in great need of that. We do not have that kind of luxury to keep avoiding going into data governance framework. So now we have reached the phase that majority of our customer value management activities or product development activities are also are very much depending on accurate data, valid data, and something that can be verified at any point. So this is something that it was a clear necessity, not something of a luxury for us.
And again, presumably the lack of governance and who has access to what, for which purpose and how many times and all that, presumably that's important to comply with regulation, but also not having that in place just adds to the general fragmentation and lots of people doing similar things in different ways.
Yes, of course, yes. And also, as you said, that regarding security and very, very important thing that when you do not have a standardized process and procedures, when you not document things, and when you analyze data outside of verified technology stack, you come to the point of data breach or any kind of security problem. So that is also something that as we are becoming larger, these things are very much coming to place as important.
Okay. And what about being data-driven as a big element of customer experience?
Yes. Now, coming back to that pyramid, when we have that base in place, which is a kind of technology enabler for the right stuff, for something that the customer base can see, we also started a very large project of automation of key marketing campaigns, outbound and inbound wise. So for the first time, we unified sales, product development, customer value management, analytics, IT. So all of us were unified to come to the point where we have all campaigns centralized and automated in SaaS that can be easily put into production or scheduled when we want them. They can be pushed to some kind of channel. And that enables us to come to the point of having omni-channel experience for the customer, because we will have data in one place. When the customer comes to the shop, he will have one touch point. When he comes 1 hour later to the self-care portal, he will still be using our services. He will make some kind of digital footprint. All of those channels will communicate with us.
So how far along that journey of that omni-channel, so that if I go from the store online to the app, you can follow me and I don't have to start over? I mean, how far were you in uniting the experience or harmonizing or whatever the right word is across the different channels?
On the first stage of unifying all sales channels, because digital is not very large in sales share in our country. But direct sales in points of sales, in shops, is very large, very significant. Unfortunately, people like to come to renew their contract, to see the device that they will buy. So our first and most important focus was to unify all sales channels. So when our agents call you, and when door-to-door sales force comes to your door, and when you come to the shop, all of them will have same information and same recommended offer for you. So that is our first goal that we are trying to achieve.
Okay, and what about, so I've heard, you've just said your customers like to come to the shop, look at the devices when they're renewing contracts. So what about when they're not renewing contracts, when they're looking for, I don't know, their bill or whatever, or if they want a new service? I mean, how is the self-service journey and the self-care, and how's that progressing? And I mean, how far are you in deploying it? And how well used is it? What's the reception like from your customers?
Well, we have a self-care portal and mobile application. We have a lot of services that were transferred to the customer so that he can perform a lot of operations on his own. So we implemented a lot of functionalities during the last, let's say, 6 or 7 years to have as much as possible implemented there, so that we reduce pressure to our contact center primarily, and also some older customers like to come to the shop to see their bill and to check with agents. So I would say that primarily younger population who are smartphone based have transferred successfully to self-care. And also we have a chatbot, which is a very nice solution of, I was just using it like 3 days ago. I solved the problem. Very, very nice and efficient. So a lot of operations are transferred there, and but our biggest issue is old population. So that is biggest issue currently in Serbia, and not so digitally native. So that is the largest issue. But the functionalities and services themselves are pretty much very well constructed, and that is some kind of maximum of at this moment of time. So we're trying to implement some new things and put any level of personalization for the customer depending on household that he belongs to, or his loyalty segment, how much tenure does he have in telecom. But those are all upgrades. Those are all cherry on the cake. But these many important business efficient functionalities are there, so he can do a lot of the things on his own.
So since you've been pulling your data into a centralized repository and made the access to it and how it's used much more uniform, have you picked up any trends that you didn't really know about? What have you learned?
Well, it's interesting that a lot of data that is being used in some form is unstructured. So we noticed that a lot of structured data that can be modeled into that standard regular data warehouse model is pretty much known to the organization, and it can be easily analyzed and validated through some IT source system like ZBell or SAP. That the whole organization pretty much knows. But when it comes to unstructured data, you do not have clear patterns. You do not have
unstructured stuff from social media, right?
Yeah, one example is like social media. Other example is location data. We also have different examples of emails, data from emails, pictures, audio. So we have different examples of data. You do not have any kind of vision or roadmap. Where is that going? So it's very big, and you have to spend a lot of man hours in order to come to any kind of conclusion about that. So right now we are use case driven. So we do not, sorry, we do not approach data that we do not have use case for, that we do not have clear intention to use that. Which is totally opposite of that data that is centralized in data warehouse. So that data is pretty much exploited, used, and the organization knows what to do about it. But this unstructured data, that is very much larger, very, very big data. And for now, the best thing that we can do is to have most essential use cases that will cover only a small portion to exploit that data. We still do not have any kind of structured way of approaching unstructured data. That is interesting.
Okay, that's very nice. So we've only got a couple of minutes left. Can you talk to me about how this data has affected how you run your network and how you optimize the network and your assets? Has it been very useful, and maybe for planning too?
Yes. We have performed last year machine learning models for network planning, for planning capacity of our mobile network to prevent congestions, because our network is very much very well dimensioned, but we need to prepare for 5G. If you can believe, Annie, we are still not in 5G technology in Serbia, but we are waiting for that. Our model was a very smart construction, which forecasts on a weekly basis which mobile network cells will become congested. And second part of that model identifies what is the optimal upgrade and how much would it cost. So when consolidated within one single dashboard that we were building for our colleagues in network planning, helps them to have a near real-time interactive tool that is relying on outputs of machine learning that they can use when they are planning some actions within network cells in Serbia. So that was our first level of support for a network division, but also we have a lot of things that we are thinking regarding AI and application for improving operational efficiency within the company. During these last years, we were focusing on customers and improving their targeting, segmentation, customer experience, stuff like that. But now we are also including operational efficiency, and we're trying to see what we can do in network, in maintenance, in IT, in different levels of our organization.
I've got one really quick question because we're out of time, but I'm just wondering about concerning data and the processing of it, how much you rely and work with hyperscalers and public cloud?
We started doing projects within AWS,
right.
And we are looking into possible migration strategies. But for now, our data is sitting on premise. So we are doing pilots in AWS in order to see what would it bring us. Would it bring us business agility or some level of operational efficiency when we do the same things that we already have in cloud environment.
Okay, Siniša, thank you very much. Very interesting. We wish you luck, and we hope to have you back to have a catch up a bit further down the line.
Okay, agreed. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.